Hi everyone, welcome to the channel for new battle report. This is another version 3.0 battle report, this time with Infernal Dwarves, and I was playing against Xavier from Team Switzerland, who was playing Warrior of the Dark God. This is my list. So what did I pick as a first ID list? I wanted to try out the Master Alchemy, which felt quite powerful with the two missiles. So I thought it was a decent choice, and Prophet of Luga is giving him basically a 4-up ward save, which should be good to protect him. Then I wanted to try out a small Prophet of Shamut on the Bull of Shamut. We have a cheap BSB, 25 Citadel Guard, which will be my main scoring unit, with Pistol and Spear, and a Flaming Standard, then a small unit of Vassal Levies to give a token, Flaming Token with bows, because we know that now that we don't have anymore the old attribute from Alchemy, it's going to be harder to place reroll to wound, so those bows could be helpful for that. 1 unit of Slave to Chaff, 2 units of Incarnate, with Musician, 5 Enforcers to have a third scoring unit, an After as a gunnery team to help me against big block, and then the big Titan. So I played the full Kadim family just to get a feeling about those units, to see what I like, what I don't like. Xavier was playing the following list. He has big magic with Master Evocation plus an Exalted Herald plus a Battle Shrine, so huge magic. He has a big block of Barbarian with Barbarian Chief on a War Days in it. He has then some Barbarian Horsemen, unit of 9, unit of 10 with Icon of Infinite to add some more magic. 2 big unit of Knights, that's his 2 main scoring unit. 1 slot, the other one Gluttony, and then we have a Giant with a Tribal War Spear to fight against other monsters. We played Forage and Plunder, which is similar to a King of the Hill old version, but basically you need to go with scoring unit at the start of your turn. Between the turn 3 and 6 you need to be on one piece of terrain that was selected by one of the players to have claimed the Forage and Plunder. So basically you need to be on 2 pieces of terrain on the start of 2 different turns with scoring units to get both terrain, and also avoid that your opponent does the same to win the secondary, the primary objective. Secondary, I didn't got, I think, Unleash the Big Gun. It was the other one that was, I needed to be on the hill with a shooting unit at the end of the game. I think that was my secondary objective, and his was get more scoring unit in my deployment zone than mine. Basically, below you have the spell selection for both of us. So as you can see, he has very good magical setup with Soul Blight, Gravecrawl, some very dangerous spell. Also Hereditary is very good against me, so yeah, very nice setup. Lot of points invested in magic, but some good spell as well. And we played Bottleneck as a deployment. Matchup analysis, so yeah, he has many threats, good magic, very good magic. Primary, I expect him to push towards me, so it will be hard, I think, to go through the map. Obviously it would be nice to start in this matchup, try to get some board control and get closer to his piece of terrain. Kadim family should be strong in the matchup. He has a lot of cavalry, so I expect them to do some job on the cavalry. And Alchemy to reduce some knights before combat. If I kill 3-4, I think the unit of knight then are a bit different. They are less scary for me, so that's definitely going to be my prime focus. Estimation was an equal. I think it's quite an open matchup. Deployment wise, so it's Bottleneck. I took the big center, took the wall, and then I dropped everything for first turn, because I felt if I don't drop for first turn, I picked the hill as my piece of terrain for the Forage and Plunder, and also for my secondary. So I felt if I don't start, I'm going to be stuck behind the hill and it's going to be able to push hard. So that was definitely going to be an issue. So I deployed from left to right, Kadim Titan, Incarnate, Slaves. Behind we have the unit of Vassal Levies. Next to them we have my main unit, which is a unit of Citadel Guard with our gunnery team, Nafta, the BSB and the Mage. On the right of them we have the unit of Enforcer, and on the far right I place both my Mage and my 6 other Incarnate. His deployment from left to right, you have the Giant Tribal War Spear here, who has a very good matchup against my Titan, at least has some good matchup against Titan to trigger the multi-wound. Then Barbarian Knights below the Mage, the big unit of Barbarian next to the wall with the Chieftain, another unit of Horsemen, second unit of Knight, and on the far right the Exalted Herald. I think what I could have done in deployment is anticipate a bit better what he might do, and basically on the weak flank just place the Titan and tell him now you need to deal with him. and I'm not sure the giant alone would be enough. It's a dangerous combat, you need to put some support. Also, I think on this screenshot is missing somewhere here in the middle the battle shrine. But I think, yeah, I could have done a bit differently. Also, we can discuss about the position of the prophet, because basically I have 2 good buff spell on him, and he's really far away from the rest of my unit on the left. And basically the best spell he has are to support Titan and Incarnate with the -1 strength, the +1 ward save and hereditary, and he's really far away from the action. So not sure I made all the right choice, and as you will see I will have more problems. One of them will be the range between the Titan and my general BSB, because for Soul Blight that could mean a lot of wounds on the Titan. Let's move on to my turn 1. So I try to correct that mistake and bring the Titan closer. So I push on the hill with both units, but then I don't have the space here in between to feed the slaves, which is obviously an issue. And also my vassal levies are stuck behind. That's not so nice. I move those Incarnate back to just zone him, and then put some space between them and the prophet to force him to have a look at the prophet. He can't really ignore him and let me go in the back line. Magic Phase, I will get the big spell of Alchemy, which is Quicksilver Lash, and only kill 1 knight, so not that great. His turn 1, he pushed towards me, he puts the giant in front of me and tells me, you can charge me, I have counter charge set up. So that's going to be interesting. I'm a bit far away with my chaff, as you can see. I would have been really happy to get the slave here behind the hill, ready to chaff turn 2, which gives me a bit more freedom on my charges. So that's not so great. Obviously that was mistake of deployment, but still only my 2nd game of version 3.0, and definitely made some bad mistake here. Magic Phase, he got hereditary on the Titan, which I dispelled. He got distracting on his giant, I let that go, and he failed Grave Call, and I dispelled Dance Macabre. So could have been worse, could have definitely been worse for me. My turn 2, take the charge, because basically I cannot let him move around here and threaten my backline. That would be a huge issue. So definitely I cannot allow that, so I need to take the charge. I made some calculation. It's I should win by a little bit. I remember that if I do 5 wounds and he has 10 attack, on average he should do like 3 wounds. So it's not that crazy, because he only wound me on 5 up and I still have a ward save, and he hits me on 4 up. So it's not that crazy great, and I have a charge, so I'm starting at +1. So I felt it's decent combat. The thing obviously not so cool is that I don't have any flaming token on the giant. So basically it's the combat without any reroll, which is obviously a bit more problematic regarding the grind that are only strength 3, AP 3 against this target. Only wounding on 6 up doesn't do that much compared to the old grind that he had before. So yeah, the grind are different. They are very good against some target like cavalry, but not so good anymore against the big monster, which I think overall is a design that makes more sense for me, because they should be about anti-armor more than anti-big monsters and single models. So I think it makes sense overall. I cannot really complain about that change, which I think is rather logical. In the Magic Phase I get, I think this time the Quicksilver Lash, not the Molten Copper, the smaller one, killed 2 cavalry. I got +1 to hit on the Titan to still hit him on 3+. I will get my Naphtha Thrower is in range here to shoot at those guys. Hit the 2+, and then together with the bow shots I'm able to get reroll to wound, and I kill 13 barbarian with the Naphtha. So huge result. Close combat, I do 2 wounds, he do 2 wounds back. I win by 1. He's stick on the steadfast. He's stick on not steadfast but 7 rollable, and he's able to counter charge with the battle shrine in the front. I reformed before. He charges me with 2 units. He made the barbarian was on the 4. He failed that one. And then he made the cavalry where I stand and shoot, I guess, but I didn't have much shot. So I think I killed nobody, because I only got a couple of pistols, so not that great. I messed up heavily, I think here, because here I don't see due to the heal, here I don't see due to the heal. And I would only have this counter charge here, but that's not that much actually. If you have a look at it, it's not that great. If you take into account the number of units that I have nearby, I really kind of block myself with the heal. Why did I take this position with the Incarnate? It's just because if he would have charged here, he could have had overrun, so I wanted to make that a bit longer and harder. But at the end, he just went for the main unit, and I'm not well placed to counter charge, which I think I could have done just better by angle those guys a bit more towards the left, and also the slave plays them better. So not that great obviously. We'll see how that goes. I still have a lot of ranks and stuff, so that's not a terrible combat, but still scary potentially for BSB and also the general. The magic phase is going to get distracting in the night, on the night. I think I failed Dance Macabre and close combat. I think he also got somewhere like a 5-up. I think got a 5-up ward save on those guys. Yeah, I think he got 5-up ward save on those guys to protect against the charge from those guys. So basically, close combat, how did I go? The knight didn't roll that well. He had a total result of 7. Obviously, I have a lot of static res because I have 4 ranks and 2 banner. He has only a charge, a rank and a banner. So he's losing by a bit. He did some wound, but not that much. I did some and he broke. It was 7 rollable. He failed that one and he broke. Yeah, I think, yeah, -2. So he failed that one, he broke. I tried to run him down, but I failed just short. But on my turn, I charged a Barbarian with the intention to overrun into the Knights and get them. So very good operation here. I didn't charge because yeah, I tried to go for a play which I think obviously in hindsight wasn't the best one, but I went on the hill because it's the start of my turn 3 to try to plunder that first train, which is the hill. And I failed, and I felt to do that. I can allow this charge, which is not that scary, but I don't want this one. So I decided to chaff instead of just moving those guys back and here moving out of line of sight and just waiting for more time. I tried to go for the secondary. Here I chaffed the Barbarian and ready to counter charge, and also counter charge here if in case I need to. I forgot to mention that last round my Titan did 2 wounds to his Giant. He did nothing to me this time, so that was really good for me. And we tied because he had like a... Or I lost by 1, maybe I had a charge and a flank. And I got 2 wounds, I think, yeah. I must have lost by 1, but still stuck, so not too bad. Here I continue to move to the side. I'm quite happy that the Exalted Herald is busy on the right side, and also the expensive unit of Knights. I could have angled those guys a bit more to the left. I think the main idea was to avoid this guy pushing here. But honestly, I think I care less than punishing this charge here, because if those guys eat those guys, I want to be able to eat them afterwards. So I think here in the trade-off of resources is not that great move from the Academy Incarnate on the right. In the magic phase, a Binding Scroll, a +2 armor save. I fail Hereditary on 3 dice, a Dispel +1 to hit, so I got nothing on the buffs side, which is not that great. Close combat. Yeah, I kill enough Barbarian to make it an auto break. I overrun into the Knight, so that's a good job. And the other combat, I think the Titan, we do some... Yeah, we kill each other, so I strike same time as the Giant. I managed to kill him and he had like 9 attack, and this time he did a good amount of multi-wound and just kill outright the Titan. So we both kill each other. On his turn 3, he charged my chaff. He chaffed my Incarnate. He charged those guys and I can't see them due to the Incarnate line of sight. And now he has the smart idea to move towards the middle, and he sees that the game is going to play here because my little guys here, they are going to be able to be on the wall on the start of my turn and get me an advantage on the secondary objective. Here take the charge, so obviously if I'm able to stick, that's going to be a plunder, so very important for the primary objective. We will see how that goes. I didn't know at the time that he could do so many grinds. He has like 2d3 +1 grind, strength 4, plus like 2 attacks. So that might be too much for the Vassal. I felt he had less than that. So yeah, wasn't the best play here. I was a bit too quick to go on this hill and feeling that I could hold that combat, but actually was not really the case. And another problem I had is this unit here is quite far away from them, so they have no leadership. Actually, I don't have any dwarfs nearby, so they are on leadership 7. Which is obviously an issue. In the magic phase, I get distracting on the mage, I dispel Hereditary, and I dispel also -1 strength. In the close combat, the cavalry, I think here, yeah, he killed the slave, the mage broke, the vassal levies, they lost like by 1, they fail, he run me down. I killed the cavalry here, those knights, and I reform. And those guys here, they did, I think, 0 wound to me, because they only wound me on 5-up, and then I have a 4-up, and he really fluff. and then I was able to do like 1 wound to him, so I was able to stick and reform. So that wasn't too nice. But again, I make another mistake here because on my turn, I push here forward, but I still don't see them. For some reason, I didn't think it was wise to turn around a bit more to make sure I can eat them later. So another mistake by the Kadim on the right. I push the Prophet towards the middle, and here I go on the wall, put everybody in the front on long charges. Those guys could charge me in the back, obviously. That's going to be an issue, but yeah, I want to get some blast on the Knights or the Exalted Herald. The Kadim here charge here, and will be ready to counter charge here later, and that's about it. In the magic phase, I get the big Quicksilver Lash and do 3 wounds on the Exalted Herald, and then on 5 dice against 5 dice, he dispelled Molten Copper on the Exalted Herald. So I had a shot at killing him. Close combat, I do 4 wounds to the Battle Shrine, he did 3 wounds to me, and he managed to stick. Or I think, no, maybe I did only 2 wounds, but I had the charge and 2 ranks. So I had 5, and he did like 2 wounds back, and he still managed to stick. So that's not a good news for me, because I really need to kill him next turn, because I cannot turn around right now to get an automatic charge here. So it will be depending on his reform and stuff, so definitely not what I expected. Here in the back we still stuck, he killed only 1 model, I killed 2, so Enforcer still impressive. But like I said, very bad reform. Here move out of line of sight, I push those guys forward to get the train, and those guys charge me in the back. In the magic phase, he got -1 strength on the Enforcers. I dispel Soul Blight, and then close combat the cavalry, make another draw. So this is exactly the time where I could have charged now in this combat, and I'm really frustrated because I only made bad placement with this unit 2 times in a row. So very disappointing here. In the top, I kill some cavalry. He fails the reform, luckily for me. I kill like 1 or 2. I did some wounds, but he cannot reform, so I'm able to kill the Battle Shrine, and I will be able here to counter charge. So that's the most important. And I reform obviously to the face. My turn. So I charge here in the back. That should be easy. Obviously, I plunder this train or forage the train here. Nobody at the moment got this one. Here we still combat. Now I have finally the idea to here zone him. Here I attempted a charge on a 6 swift, so I have 2 dice. It's like, yeah, 1/3 of a chance, more or less, to charge here in the flank, which would have secured me the kill of this unit. Then I could overrun out of line of sight, because what I was afraid of is that he kills my Enforcers, turns around and moves on the secondary on his turn, which would allow him to get a second scoring unit here and potentially win the primary objective, which I didn't like. But I failed that charge and placed the Kadim Incarnate as protection. In the magic phase, I got -1 strength on the cavalry in the combat, and I got +2 armor save on my big unit on the wall, but unfortunately for me, I miscast, and this is going to be cast on his turn, and he is going to have a chance to dispel it. So that's a bad news. Close combat, I one-shot the Barbarian on top, and below he just win by 1 on my Enforcers. I think I did nothing. He had like a standard and a rank, maybe I did 1 wound. I lost by 1, 8 non-rollable, broke, fled, lost some DT, and I'm going to lose the unit. He managed to reform, he passed his check on the 3+, and he's going to be able to go on the hill, so that's a bad news for me. He's turn 5, he charged with the cavalry against my big block, move away with his character and move those guys on the hill. So at the moment we both did get this one, and now I have a choice to make. It's whether the Incarnate go here to save my main unit, or the Incarnate go on below to get the secondary. So that's, I think, equal amount of point more or less. As you can see, those guys, yeah, they still see nothing crazy. He as well, he's out of the line of sight. In the magic phase, he got -1 strength. -1 strength on the Kadim Incarnate, which are in a counter charge position. And I dispelled the distracting close combat. What happened? He killed some. I have like, yeah, still 4 ranks, 6 static res. He has a charge, 2 ranks and a banner. So I'm winning by 2. They managed to do a good amount of wounds. Some of them have -1 to hit due to the wall. It's only the model in contact with the wall, so like 3 model, I guess, 3 or 4 models. I still managed to do a good amount of wounds. In version 2.0 I would have been steadfast checking on 9 rollable, or even better with Infernal Brand, but not this time. I only have like 1 rank more than him. I'm losing by like 2 or 3, I think by 3. I'm stubborn, so losing by 2. 7 rollable, I fail it, and he run me down. So he got like 2000 points out of this unit. Yeah, very frustrating, especially since what happened in the magic phase, that he dispelled my +2 armor save in the magic phase. So I wasn't able to really get yeah, anything great in the combat here. On my turn, I charge with the Kadim and charge with the Kadim, so those guys, I eat them. They flee over here and I catch them here. And nothing else will happen basically on the last turn, and that's going to be the end of the game. So we both took a lot of unit, but he took slightly more than me, point-wise, because yeah, I lost all these points at the end. So it's like a, I don't know, a 2000 point unit more or less. Yeah, plus the enforcer as well. Maybe all of that combined is 200. So not that 2000. So not that great. I lost really not 2000, but like yeah, 1800. Lost a lot of points lost on turn number 5. So not that great for me, obviously. Yeah, that's how it is nowadays. So it's a new life for Infernal Dwarves, that you might have to stick on 7 rollable, which is very shaky, obviously, in comparison to 9 rollable. Not something I was used to and prepared to. I felt I buffed myself, but that wasn't enough. Post-game analysis, so multiple issue in deployment. Obviously, I wasn't well placed leadership-wise, the buff were in the wrong spot. Warhall's Dark God, I think, wasted a bit too much time on the right. I think that's worth mentioning. We had some dicey fight. On turn 2, yeah, with Giant and my Titan, couldn't really let him move freely. So that was obviously a bit of an issue. When I dropped for first turn, he was able to counter me with the Giant, but I was basically forced to drop for first turn due to the primary objective and the map, because I would have been pushed behind the hill, and that would have been basically his primary if he would have started. Turn 2 Warrior, yeah, surprised to see his Knight bounce. Lucky that the Barbarian didn't come into combat. I didn't think it would have changed much, to be honest, but maybe it would have added some static res and allow him to stick. So yeah, I don't know if it was better or not, but it was on a 4+ on 1 dice and he failed that one. Turn 3, Warhall's Dark God, big moment for the Vassal. The primary was obviously in contention at this point of time. I should have been more patient, I think. I should have just stayed back with the Vassal, throw some bows on the Barbarian, move out of the way with the Enforcers. I still have a lot of time. And I think I made a lot of bad placement with the right Kadim Incarnate. A lot of mistakes here. Enforcers broke at a very bad time. Yeah, they stick a long time. I was really happy about that. They were quite lucky to stick on the charge, to be honest. But I had no counter charge set up, and I was punished for that. Obviously, I should have been placed better. Turn 5 Warrior. Shaky 7 rollable cost me the win, and a large amount of points, obviously. And least, I think, yeah, it's also highlighting that having all eggs in one basket might be too risky in version 3.0, because you don't check, or it's harder to check on unmodified leadership. You basically need a lot of ranks, which for some armies like Infernal Dwarves is hard to achieve. So I think something to keep in mind for future list. Magic didn't do that much from range. I expected much more from Alchemy. I felt Alchemy, it's kind of a dream matchup against Warhall's Dark God. But basically I wasn't able to do that much, and as soon as my level 4 was in close combat, I wasn't able to cast any more missiles. So I'm not sure it was the best here to be in that combat block, and I faced too many combat for a mage that was designed to cast missiles. So I think he should have had his design units to be in it as a bunker and be able to cast during 6 turns those missiles. But they didn't do as much as I expected, except against the Exalted Herald, where I was able to do 3 wounds on 1 blast. But the rest wasn't that impressive. Incarnate seems really nice. With the new mobility rule, I think they are better than before mobility-wise, I would say. Obviously they have some downside, because they might suffer against the big unit that might have +1 to wound against them, obviously. But they are quite decent. I felt the new mobility rule feels a lot better to play with them, because now you can reform them and move a bit sideways. So they are much more flexible than before. So I think that was a good surprise for me. Guys, that's all for this second battle report in version 3.0. I have some more coming up, so talk to you soon on the channel. Goodbye.